back to another video. Today we'll be doing our West conference predictions. All right, who's your six?
Number six, I got the Golden State Warriors, which talked about. I think they're going to win two more games than they did last season. Um, they ended up getting a few pieces last year, like Gary Payton, good defenders. We're hoping to see them a little more healthy. But I think Curry, he has ankle issues. Will miss a few games. Which, by the way, I also projected that into my Kings. Fox is very known with his ankle issues as well. Takes all it takes for him to miss a few games. But with Chris Paul there too, as weird as a fit as I think it is, I just think that's going to make that offense that is such a like a beautiful offense designed on off the ball movement and moving the ball. I think he's just going to add another beautiful element to the offense, either a six man or as a starter, and he's just going to add a little bit of depth to that team for playmaking. And I just think it's the Warriors. Don't overthink it. I think they're going to be number six, 46 and 36, two more games.
I mean, my family is full of Warriors fans. So I've been watching the Warriors forever. I'm a big fan, but at the end of the day, I had them missing the playoffs entirely. I mean, I had them in the playoff in the play.
I have them missing the playoffs of the play-in. I have
Yeah,
them being the seventh seed and then falling out
oh,
against the Thunder and Pelicans.
there you
I
go.
think y'all are underestimating the Warriors. We've seen what the
I
Warriors can do,
agree.
even without
Last
Chris
year,
Paul.
I think you're
Steph Curry
overestimating.
is Steph Curry. Klay Thompson was insane last season. They
So
brought in Brandon Pobzinski to the team, who's a great piece. They still got Draymond Green. See what Draymond Green can do. Kevon Looney
Kaminga,
has improved so much. Jonathan Kuminga. Chris Paul is just another. He's a part of the Splash Bros in a way, not
take the
shooting.
team last year that beat the Kings, and they're
so
better.
Elevated.
so here's the thing. You said
They
your
won the
sophomore.
championship 2 years ago.
Steph Curry struggles with injuries lately. I mean, that's just a fact. Anthony Davis has played more games or like the past 4 years than him. And Anthony Davis is pretty injury prone, if you ask me. But yeah, Steph Curry struggles to stay healthy. Chris Paul struggles to stay healthy. Klay Thompson, I mean, he had the two big injuries, but he struggled with consistency. Obviously Draymond, we've seen it without
Wiggins, don't forget Wiggins either. He should be
Wiggins
back. He
missed
missed a
a big
lot of
chunk of
time.
time last year too.
He
I don't,
missed a lot of time, not due to injury, due to personal reasons.
Yeah, it's personal issues.
but still at the end of the day, I feel like the Warriors are so consistently injured, and I just see them. I mean, I still see them making the play-in. But I don't know. I I want to believe, but I feel like I can't. I feel like, and this isn't like a Heat situation with Eric Spoelstra because like where like oh whatever players he puts out there, I think he'll have success. We saw Steve Kerr fall flat multiple times when it was like just Steph Curry. And without Steph Curry, he's been nothing remarkable, really. And if Steph Curry misses more time, which he probably will, he has over the last 4 years. Klay Thompson's going to miss some times. I don't know. And the West has improved so much. I feel like they're going to.
That's the
I
thing.
like-
Thompson,
I believe in the Warriors being able to be good, but I just feel like the competition is going to be better than them. And I think obviously you have Looney, but like I still think height will start falling more of an issue. And I just don't see them coming through to the playoffs, especially
I'm just saying,
outside of the plan.
I like how you brought up Eric Spoelstra, because Steve Kerr is one of the greatest coaches for a reason. Not just because he has Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on his team, because he knows how to win even when they're hurt. That's what he did
Does he?
when Steph was hurt. Yes.
I mean, not really.
Klay was hurt for about 3 seasons.
Yeah, and they didn't make the playoffs, any of them.
guys, last year, like they beat the Kings. The year before they beat the finals, and won the finals, and we were like, they were in the play. They weren't even in the play. They were in the playoffs last year, and this is like the same team. I'm expecting to be more healthy. Klay Thompson, like you said, he was coming off injury. He now had a whole season to play on. There shouldn't be more injuries really for him because he had two gigantic injuries. He's not a guy that gets minor injuries consistently. He suffered two gigantic injuries in his career, and that's really it. Otherwise, he plays almost every game. Steph Curry has minor ankle injuries. Yeah, throughout his career, that's true, but last year too. But you're adding Chris Paul now to that same team. I think, Marvin, to your point and to your guys' point, I think they have many playoff concerns, particularly regarding big and center. but I think they're just a tough team to figure out. Even in the playoffs, they're just a tough team. We saw it in the playoffs against. They were even competing with the Lakers, who are a very big team. They tend to adapt very well with their core piece of guys, and they're hard to the type of offense they play is hard to guard. It's hard to win against, and if you add Chris Paul for one depth and just a person that is extremely high IQ and very capable of scoring, I think they're
And
going to win you plenty of
you're
games.
you're basically just replacing him, you're replacing Jordan Poole. Chris Paul's a lot better of a player. He's more consistent than Jordan Poole. You just add that to the fact in the playoffs, they would even go farther.
He
I
fits
think
their
they'd have
team
a higher
better.
chance.
I
Yeah, and
don't
better
think
defense play.
I think he fits the culture better. I don't think he fits like that offensive system. But at the end of the day, I think Chris Paul will figure it out. He's a good player. But
That's
I
fine.
mean, and the Warriors are going to be a good team. It's just the West is ultra stacked, and I don't think they've done anything to elevate them over other teams. You know,
I could see them since for me I have the Kings at 6 and the Warriors at 7. I could see those two possibly switching, but I only see the Warriors being so good in the regular season this season.
I just feel like like you said, the Warriors haven't adjusted. And I agree with you. I don't see them as being a contender, but I feel like the Warriors are almost in their own bubble. When we've seen this for the last few years, where a lot of times they're not really adjusting to other teams, but teams have to adjust to them. They play their own culture, their own style and brand of basketball, similar to the Heat, actually, where the Heat, right? People are like, "Oh, what are the Heat doing? They're not going to be able to compete," and then somehow they compete. They kind of do their own thing because it works, because they have their own system of basketball that is very effective, particularly with the players they have, and we know all their those core players. The big three are still there. Wiggins from that championship year is still there. Looney's still there. We know those guys are all still there. And so that's just where I'm seeing like, well, you're right. They didn't make any big adjustments, but it's still the Warriors, and they have their own brand of basketball.
I just think everyone else has caught up to them in terms of like OKC, the Pelicans, those teams that were like on the outside looking in last year, and I think someone's going to have to get replaced, and I think it will be the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors were
Could be
one game out of the play-in last year, so
true.
it could have been very different.
True.
All right,
Yeah,
who's your
let's go to number 6 now or 5.
five?
Five. We're gonna get some. I'm gonna get some heat here from Beacon. This is gonna be nice. Got the Phoenix Suns, baby. 48 and 34. They're gonna win 3 more games. They're gonna be a better team. I'm betting on the team to have health issues. Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Yusuf Nurkic. That takes away 3 of their best starters. That automatically, I don't know how many games. I'm just calculating it in. Um, and for one, they have to figure things out going into the season. They are still largely lacking a playmaker, which is part of figuring out, and defensive wings, particularly on their starting lineup. It's a lot to figure out, particular missing pieces and then injuries. And I think you quickly can see them sitting at the 5th in the West, despite being arguably the most studders, having the most stars on their team.
Yeah. So initially, when I first found out you had the Suns at 5, I was shaken. I mean they're at. Yeah, let me check. They are my 2 seed. So I'm pretty, but yeah, I mean, more and more I think of it, if they have injuries, 48 wins is still very solid. I mean, I still think they'll be the biggest threat in the playoffs to the Nuggets. But also I don't think I'm as concerned about the no playmaking as you. I mean, we kind of saw them use that formula against the Nuggets when Chris Paul went down, and they were pretty successful. It's just the load on D Book and KD was so high in that series that they just flamed out. So I think the addition of Beal, that they got a lot more depth now with Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon. I mean, you got guys like Bull, Nas Little. I really like that pickup. I mean, and then you
Point
got
guard.
Do
Diop.
y'all think Bradley
Burlington.
Beal will have issues adjusting to being really kind of a third option scorer on that team?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I have heard rumors that he might actually play point guard, so he might be the one taking the ball. I don't know how well that's gonna work out either, but I actually have the Suns at 5 too. I agree with the seeding. I think they're gonna fall short of just a few things with figuring things out, defense, figuring out who your playmaker is, who's taking what shot. I think it's gonna take them a little bit to figure it out, and because of that they're gonna fall a little bit to 5, which is still good seeding.
Just
But
out of curiosity, just like Deacon said, and I think it's in large part true, they were looking for other scorers sometimes when Chris Paul was out, even though Devin Booker was like playing out of his mind, scoring wise. I would just be curious to see or wonder if Bradley Beal, if they were to then look for him, if he would have trouble adjusting to it because he won't get the ball game. But then if they need him fourth quarter or something like that, it'd just be interesting to see what that role would look like. Or is it going to be Bradley Beal one night? Not going to be playing as much one night or kind of scoring as much one night. The next night it's going to be Kevin Durant. Like, how is that going to look with those three guys?
I think what we've seen with Bradley Beal, especially on the Wizards, is that he's not afraid to go get the ball. We see guys a lot of times that will kind of just be stagnant if they don't have the ball, if they're not involved. Like Trae Young is one of those guys. If he doesn't have the ball, he's not doing crap. Uh, but I think Bradley Beal moves off ball, puts himself in positions to, take catch and shoot shots to cut. And we'll just see if Booker and KD will deliver to him. I think KD's better at that than Booker is, but I think Booker he was kind of taking the leap as the lead ball handler last year in the playoffs, and he looked good. Obviously, he was looking to shoot more than anything, but yeah, I think there'll be definitely an adjustment period, but I think once they get it going, they'll be pretty much unstoppable on offense. And then defense is also an issue with them. Nurkic is he's a solid defender. He lacks effort a lot of times. Like we see in the crunch time, he's one of the best defenders statistically. Anytime else, he's not very good statistically. So I think if he's motivated, he could, perform. But otherwise, there's not a whole lot of rim protection. There's not a lot of defense at the guard position. So we'll see.
I think also taking the last shot again. Bradley Beal wants to take that last shot. Devin Booker wants to take that last shot, and Katie wants to take that last shot.
Well, I think they all know it's Booker's team. I mean, KD has said that. Beal has said that. So I think if everyone is fine, if everyone is it keeps that same mindset, I think it'll be Booker, and I think it'll be.
yeah, now let's go to your 4, Lauren. Who's the 4 seed?
4 seed, I got Los Angeles Clippers are going to win 4 more games, 48 and 34. I don't know. I mean, you guys, if you've been keeping track, I haven't said the Lakers yet. So I'm betting kind of on LA, if you guys remember the bubble, to kind of LA to kind of take that crown back a little bit. I'm expecting the Clippers here to be a little more healthy. They have a rule that kind of stops them from resting their players maybe as much as they have been. Russell Westbrook was looking incredible in the playoffs with them. I think that's going to be a team that they're really deep. I really like how they drafted. I like a lot of their pieces.
Who do they draft again?
Kobe Brown.
What is it? Kobe Brown, that's his name. They got Kobe Brown. I think he's a baller. They have Bones Highland. Who?
Story ones, but anyway, continue.
I just think if they're a little more healthy and they got their guys playing, and Russell Westbrook, he gets a lot of hate, but he for one played great, and we also know he's one of the best teammates to have, despite kind of some of the Lakers rumors. All the players have spoken out that have been his teammates. He's one of the best and most motivating teammates they've had. So he's a winner, and I think him with that squad being a little more healthy, I think they're going to be able to beat anyone. They're insane on defense, and they have also insane offensive power.
Yeah, with them, like always, it really comes down to health of PG and Kawhi. But I do think because they have Westbrook, he's been a pretty healthy guy his whole career, that he'll be able to at least rack up some wins while Kawhi and PG are missing games. And I mean, I don't know how it's gonna go, but Russ has played with PG too, so for all we know, that could click right back to where there's not as much of like an adjustment either, to where they kind of know how to play with each other already. I don't know if Kawhi, I don't know how that'll work, but I think overall they all have a pretty good mindset of the game anyway, so I feel like they won't have to adjust too much with that either. But I could see, especially like Lauren, if they really play with that rule and Kawhi and PG aren't like actually hurt either, that they could really get the wheels rolling on this thing and really be a good team this season.
Yeah, I think Kawhi's like a kind of Zion. If he's healthy, he's a top 5 player in the
Mhm.
league, kind of player, and could easily just bring him up in the list and go far in the playoffs. But that's another thing if he's healthy, So
Yeah, but they still have PG and Westbrook, and I think they have more than the Pelicans do in experience and talent to
but same thing with
be able to
PG.
win.
Yeah. Yeah, but we see the Clippers every year deal with injuries. I mean, obviously the PG and Kawhi. They never had Westbrook. I don't know why I didn't say Westbrook. Anyway, they never had Westbrook for a whole full year. I think he'll rack him up some wins when those guys sit. But in general, they always just figure out a way to get wins. They're incredibly
Yeah, really good
uh,
to see.
yeah. Obviously Ty Lue, I think he's the second best coach in the league. Um uh
Okay, okay.
okay, wait. Who's better? Who's better? Who's better?
Greg Popovich,
Well,
Mike
Popovich,
Brown.
Steve Kerr. You have your OKC Thunder coach, despite even though he's young. You have Vaughn, even though he's young. You have dude, this is
I'm taking Lou over all of those people.
Over
Okay.
Greg
based off
Popovich,
what
Mike
accomplishment.
Brown.
What has he done? He won a championship with LeBron because LeBron was calling the plays.
Well, I think that's a little you got to give Ty Lue a little bit of credit there.
Either way, that's a different
Yeah,
discussion.
but it wasn't like he has a system like Popovich or even Steve Kerr of
But
where they.
and what has he done? Look at this Clippers roster. I mean, he brought them to the conference finals with Kawhi hurt. I mean, I know PG was going crazy, but the way he coaches this roster, he's no bum. I don't know why you're acting
No, he's
like
not a bum at all. He's just a
Not
top two
top
coach,
two.
dude. I'm
yeah,
talking
bro.
about top two coach. I never said he's a
That's
bum.
not that
Top
ridiculous.
two
That's not that
coach.
ridiculous.
Deacon,
Oh
Steve
my
Kerr,
god.
Greg Popovich, and Coach Spo were all easily better than him.
And Mike Brown.
Yeah, you have Spoelstra.
Mike Brown, I'll take Ty Lue over Mike Brown.
You have
He brought
Malone.
his
You have
team
Coach
to third
Malone.
seed in his first year.
Malone, Spoelstra, Kerr,
Okay. So
Popovich.
Spoelstra, Kerr, and Popovich, I totally understand arguments against. But Coach Brown, give me a break. I mean, Ty Lue every year has
In his
injuries
first
going on.
year, he brought his team to the third seed.
I understand that, but Ty Lue every year has. Okay, we don't. This is not what the video is about. We got to move on. But
Oh, we got this is crazy, man.
I really don't think it's that crazy.
I don't know. I don't think I know anyone else, anyone that would say Ty Lue is a top 3 coach or would even argue that.
I think a lot of people would say that. I don't know. I'll look it up after. Anyway. So who's your what are we on 4?
Well, 4 is the
We
Clippers.
are now on 3. By the
on
way,
3.
I have the Clippers and the Suns. They have the same record. Clippers have the tiebreaker.
I noticed that.
So we get
So then we have
Suns
one
with-
game above them, only one game above them at 49-33. 6 more wins than they had last year with the Lakers. I don't think it'll be difficult for them to win 6 more games at all, considering how they ended the season, how they looked. They were winning very consistently, especially after the trade deadline, and they started the season like a dumpster fire. All it takes for them is to not have those things happen. They should easily be able to win 6 more games. We're expecting Reeves to only look better. We're expecting Rui to look better. They added Cam Reddish. They added Gabe Vincent. They did lose Schroeder, and I think that is actually an underrated loss for them. But the Lakers team, they made it to the Western Conference Finals, and even the last bit of the season, they look great. I don't think it's out of the picture at all for them to win 6 more games.
Mhm.
I totally agree. I actually have them going as my 1 seed this season. I'm surprised you haven't Grizzlies yet, though. That means they're probably number 2 or 1, which I mean I'll say my things then about that. But I think the Lakers, I agree with Schroeder probably being an underrated loss, but I feel like the things they've got back have just been so good for them that they have everything. They have depth. They have everything really. I could totally see them being the 1 seed this season. I don't think it's unrealistic at all. They've made great moves. Like you said, they looked fantastic at the end of the last season. I really think they
You
could
take their current team, which they have currently. They've only had that team the way like the starting lineup, those players since the trade deadline. The team was one of the best teams in the league, and they showed it when they made it to the Western Conference Finals. They get swept, but if you guys know anything about analyzing basketball, a record does not show everything. If they lost all those games by 1 point, then a sweep is much different than losing all by 20. No, they did not lose all by one, but I think they lost by combined 18-point total.
Yeah, I think it was
So they
like
were certainly
5 points.
playing with the Nuggets.
Yeah,
I think one is pushing it. Dennis Schroeder, none of the guys that they picked up have the mindset or how he plays. Dennis Schroeder, I understand you still have LeBron, who has a great mindset, but Dennis Schroeder had just this dynamic duo with LeBron and Anthony Davis. I think he is
I think you're
one of
thinking of
or he
AR.
was one of their most valuable players for the Lakers. Dennis Schroeder.
yeah. So
Impact he had.
I'll agree with Valentin. I don't think they got any better this offseason. That's not to say I don't think they are better, because I don't think the pieces they brought in improved their roster at all. I think Gabe Vincent to Dennis Schroeder is a pretty lateral move, if not worse. But
That's fair.
at the end of the day, they have continuity, which they haven't had in a really long time. And I think that's going to really, really help this team. I mean, I have them as my 5 seed, less because I think they're going to, not click. I think they just don't take the regular season that seriously. So I don't think they'll really put a whole lot of effort into it. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. I don't think they had the best offseason like a lot of people are saying. A lot of the pieces they brought in were solid, but I think they had a good offseason. The offseason they needed to have is what they had.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, who's your number 2, Lauren?
Number 2, we got the Denver Nuggets, baby.
Oh.
So they're going to be 2 games above the Lakers, 51-31. They're going to lose 2 more games than last year. They had a great run last year. They lost Bruce Brown. Didn't add pieces. Christian Brown. They're going to be a good team. I think they're just I don't think there's too much to say on that. You would discuss that, but I might as well say number 1 as at least one team left, and I think that's the big question for y'all. The Memphis Grizzlies are going to have to be 1 game above the Nuggets, 52-30. They're only going to win 1 more game than last season, and we saw them last year. They were a very dominant team in the wins. And we saw them have several injury issues with Clark and Adams, which kept them relatively thin at big, and they showed their depth. They have almost all those pieces back. They have the reigning defensive player of the year. And now here's the big question mark. Ja Morant will miss 25 games this season. They do not have Tyus Jones. They do have Marcus Smart, and like I said, they should be all healthy at big. And so I think they're still going to be a team. And Desmond Bain was next level he had a great season to begin with, but he was next level in the playoffs. He was really great, extremely accurate shooter, but could really do anything on the court. And I see with Marcus Smart now kind of getting that team a little bit more in line and losing Dylan Brooks, who might have been a little bit of a distraction at times. But they both play that defense. They also both great defenders. And Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year, with the current reigning Defensive Player of the Year and being healthy, and then still getting Ja Morant back, having Derrick Rose, the scoring spark plug on the bench. I think this team is just going to end up winning a lot of games. They were very dominant during the regular season, and I see them just the way the season rolls. I see them just winning the most games in the West, despite the Ja Morant suspension.
I am right with you there. I got them as my number 1 seed.
Boom! High five, baby. You said something crazy about coaches, but you know what? I forgive you.
Well. So about about good coaches, they have a really good one. First off, I mean, I think that culture shift with Marcus Smart coming in for Dylan Brooks is going to be night and day. And then again, Ja Morant, I feel like he's going to be motivated. I feel like he's going to be wanting to prove people wrong. He's going to come in locked in once he
dunking on people.
Yeah. And we see them every year. If Ja Morant goes down, they still have a good record without him. So I think they'll still be near the top of the West. And then once he comes back, they'll just elevate. I think they'll take that 1 seed. I think they'll win like 60+ games. I'm really hyped about them this year. I am really hyped about them this year. I mean, their defense is going to be so good. It's going to be ridiculous.
I think they might either them or the Bucks are probably gonna have the best defense in the league.
Yeah, probably.
So just to clarify, so you have them winning more games than any team won last year?
Yeah, I think they'll be the number 1 record wise in the league.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
based on Warren's prediction too, if you think they win 60, that's over the Bucks too.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we also didn't have the Dame trade in that, but
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah. I think Grizzlies are going to be absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I mean their bench is still pretty deep. They got young pieces. I think Desmond Bain takes. I think he was my most improved player pick this year, even though he already almost won it the other year. I think he's going to be like a 25 point per game scorer.
I'm
I
gonna,
mean, honestly, that's a good take. 'Cause with Ja Morant out, he's gonna have
Yeah,
to get buckets.
yeah. I mean that's where I'm guessing his value comes in.
the
Point.
other question to me that I have, which I mean, it might be kind of weird kind of question, but I wonder how Derrick Rose is gonna do in the time that Ja's out as well to see if he's gonna get anything going too, or if he's gonna kind of just stay lower. But I feel like he could at least get some numbers if he's like a good backup. He'll get more minutes and could get something going there. But
I see at least one game of Derrick Rose going off for like a 30 or 40 pointers.
right, like
Like,
at least one, but
or-
maybe he'll get something going from that too, especially while Ja's out.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting.
but with them getting Clark and Adams fully healthy and then still having Tillman, like
Jared Jackson.
they're a deep team.
You got Luka Nard last season too, who can shoot the lights
Oh,
out. They got
Desmond
pieces.
Bain and Bernard are two of the most accurate 3-point shooters in the league right
Mm-hmm.
now. All
Jake
right,
LaRock
Valentine.
might get some more minutes too.
Well, Valentine, where do you have the Grizzlies?
not even the top 8. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay. Okay.
I would have him at second. Nuggets. Jamal Murray was hurt for most of the season last year.
I have him at second too.
Came back. Was crazy, and he's just gonna get in that rhythm again.
He was
Christian
out
Brown
for
is
most of last season.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean he missed quite a few games. I think they were mostly like
He's
rest.
injury prone. He really is injury
He
prone.
is. So he
Uh,
might again. So
As is Michael Porter Jr.
Christian Brown is going to take Bruce Brown's spot, and I think he'll do a phenomenal job at that. We saw him in the playoffs; he was crazy. Really big role into the Nuggets winning that championship. Michael Porter Jr. was phenomenal. Aaron Gordon, his defense is amazing. I just don't see any other team doing what the Nuggets are capable of doing. Again, they have Nikola Jokic. It's really a big game changer right there. It's Nikola
It's
Jokic.
it's
So-
like when sorry. But like people, I think a lot of people were freaking out about the losing of Bruce Brown. I mean, first of all, he got absolutely paid by the Pacers. I don't think the Nuggets were willing to pay that dollar. Also, I think they're very comfortable with Christian Brown stepping into that role. I mean, and he did a great job as a rookie in the finals. I mean, and we almost never see rookies play in the finals.
True.
Um,
I think they lost KCP too. So it's just they lost some pretty big role players. And
On another
also
note,
KCP's on the team still.
yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
to the games played numbers though, Jamal Murray played 65 games.
exactly.
So
That's the
I
minimum
don't
for
think that's
winning
happening
award.
again.
He played
Michael
plenty.
Porter Jr. played 62 games, which is the most that he's
who-
played in a season since he started in the NBA. So I don't know. That I think that could fall a little bit for both players.
Well,
They
yeah,
also have Reggie Jackson on the roster, who didn't get very many minutes last year, who will get more minutes, and he's a great player. We've
Yeah,
seen him play.
I have the Nuggets as my fourth seed. Not because I expect them to regress, just because I think they will be a little more beat up next year. And I think they know they can beat any team, and they can. So I think they will, take the regular season a little more lightly. I mean, we see it with the Warriors the year they won the championship. I feel like they were what, the 3 seed. They probably should have been the 1 seed. I mean, considering how bad they were beating opponents like early on, and then they let their foot off the gas pedal. So I think the Nuggets will do something similar this year. Um,
I think the Grizzlies. So Deacon and Lauren have the Grizzlies at 1. Marvin has Lakers at 1, right?
wait, where do you have the Nuggets?
I have
Where
them
do you
at
have the
3.
Grizzlies, Marvin?
I have the Grizzlies at 2, the Nuggets at 3.
Oh, so you have the Grizzlies above the Nuggets too. That's not even that crazy then for you.
I
Wait,
didn't think you were gonna have them that high. I was kind of surprised.
Dang, so us three all have the Grizzlies above the Nuggets. I'm shocked. I mean, I thought
What
that
is going to hold
The
the
thing that
Grizzlies
scared
back
me
a
too is you
lot
guys kept
is
saying like, "Oh, Marvin, are you gonna down on the Nuggets too much?" But you guys both have or Deacon has him at 4, so I have him better than Deacon.
we were just
Well,
joking.
so I'm not expecting the Nuggets to regress. I'm just saying they'll try.
Same.
And I think they might have a little more injury problems again too.
Yeah.
I have the
They
Grizzlies winning one more game than the Nuggets. It's just sometimes, I mean, it could be the last game. It could be the last game of the season. It's just one more game.
wait, so sorry, I missed it. Who does Valentine have at one?
The
Nuggets.
Nuggets.
Oh, okay.
I don't think
Okay.
the first or the 25 games that John Morant is out will hold him back a lot, I think. And when he come back, he has to get back in rhythm too. They're going to
Yeah.
be losing a couple games throughout that time too. And then throughout the regular season, it just happens teams lose also, which will bring them back more, which will
Yeah.
move the Nuggets up higher, in my opinion.
I mean, I can see it for sure.
Ja Morant, though, guys, just keep in mind, Valentine, he's not coming back from injury. So he's not unable to play in the meantime.
But
He will
the
certainly be
chemistry,
playing
Marcus
basketball.
Smart is a new add-on to the team. He
He can
has no
still practice
chemistry
with
in
him.
Marcus Smart in a
But
regular
he can
season.
play basketball in the meantime. He just won't be
He's
able to
still
play in
gonna
an
be
official
practicing
game.
Yeah, we've
It's
with
not
him.
seen it
like he's
happen before,
forbidden to
though.
play, touch a ball. He's not forbidden to touch a ball. Like he can still invite, like he can still play basketball. He will play basketball every day.
He's gonna
It's
practice with him.
chemistry,
He's
though.
gonna build chemistry.
But game reps are totally different than practice reps, and I think we
Oh,
see that.
absolutely. But guys, what I'm saying is, we see guys come back from injuries and play so great. He's not even coming back from an injury.
Yes, and I'm
I think
saying
it's realistic.
chemistry.
I
I'm
think
not
it's
talking about
realistic.
injury.
I think it's realistic to expect to take like 2 or 3 games or even like 4 or 5 for them to get in full rhythm with Ja back.
But they're
I mean,
still gonna be good enough to still be able to rack wins and stuff. I mean,
well, he hasn't
Yeah.
met the 2 seed. I don't think he agrees.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. You know, I mean, I see it. For me, it's just more realistic to have the Grizzlies lose more games while he's gone than it is for me to expect a lot of regression once Ja comes back. I just feel, I mean, yeah, he's gonna have to adjust, but like, guys come back from injuries and they adjust relatively quickly, and they weren't able to walk for weeks and nor play basketball for months. He's going to be playing basketball every day. It's 25 games. It's not even like a whole season. Like that's all I'm saying. I feel like that's a little bit over the top. But me, I can certainly see the Grizzlies while he's not playing to obviously be a worse team.
We brought the T-Wolves back because of their chemistry. That's the exact same scenario for the Grizzlies.
whoa,
It's the chemistry
whoa,
that holds them
whoa,
back in
whoa!
that scenario when
Timberwolves is
John
way
Morant comes
different.
back.
Timberwolves is way different. Okay, they have so many
It's
problems.
still team chemistry which holding them back,
Yeah,
isn't
but
it?
how is it the same thing? Their team chemistry is not there because they fight and because they've been punching each other and because they never had it. The Grizzlies had the chemistry. They're not also
They
gonna
don't
be
know
like,
how to
oh, we
play with each other on the court. John Morant doesn't know how to play with Marcus Smart on the court. Has he ever played with him in a regular season game with Marcus?
but Marcus Smart is not
No.
Jason Tatum, LeBron James, or Kevin Durant. He's not like the guy that's going out there always doing like he's not the floor like touching the
Not gonna
ball
be
always going
expecting
at
to
will.
be the guy every
No
single
one
time.
on the Grizzlies is able to adjust like LeBron James with team chemistry. No one on the Grizzlies is able to do that. Very few NBA players
Steven
are able
Adams
to.
is. I would beg to differ. Steven Adams can do that.
No.
Amen. He's the goat.
You
But
would bring
Steven
John
Adams
Morant
is
into the
like
chemistry? No.
Steven Adams at all times though is like the 5th option. So
No, but he can still adjust to anything all the time.
but
He's correct. Okay, that's what
I
I'm trying
think
to.
I think it's perfectly reasonable to think that that there will be an adjustment period when Ja comes back. I mean, 25 games is a lot of time, and the Grizzlies are going to get used to playing a certain way. And when Ja comes back, that way is going to change. I mean, for the better or for the worse,
Are still
probably
part
for
of
the
it.
better. But
I agree with the take. I just think it's like overblown. Like we see adjustment periods with players injured out for a season and a half. And there is adjustment time, but even that doesn't take super long. And these are guys that literally aren't able to play any type of basketball, not even by themselves, much less with their team. John Morant can play every day with the team, and it's only a quarter of the season. Like it's not like we're even missing half the season. Like it's he's playing basketball every day, can play with his guys. Like they're gonna play 5-on-5. He's not gonna be like, oh well, I'm just gonna shoot myself in my house. Like,
I think we
he's
spent
gonna
enough
like
time on
he's
this.
gonna invite Marcus Smart, everybody over, play 5-on-5. Like that's what's gonna happen, y'all.
Considering the fact that he has a number 2, we're talking about this for way too long.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, we all think the Grizzlies are good. That's fine.
yeah.
Grizzlies are gonna be a top 2 team this season, is what we all agree on.
Maybe.
Do you not have them at 2, Valentine?
I have them tied with the team.
Okay.